Hi, this is Ray Flanagan again with the Potato Heads podcast. I'm here back with Sheri Goodman Graham. Sheri has a page called Plant-Based Whole Foods for Health, Weight, and Longevity. She's a online coach, nutrition coach. Great to see you again, Sheri.
Thanks, Ray. It's so good to see you too.
I'd love to talk about oil today, and I think with a balanced diet, you certainly need oil, but it's what we worry about is the processed oils. So tell me a little bit about what you know about oils and what we need.
Oh, good point. Oils that are in like a jar. Now, they're not even in jars anymore. They're in plastic bottles. That's even grosser, when I think about them sitting in the plastic on the shelf. What I call an oil is an adulterated food, meaning they took a whole healthy food and they stripped it of all its nutrition and they put it into a bottle or a plastic bottle and put it on a shelf and say, you need oils to cook with. We really don't need oils in any form. There's no nutrition, there's no fiber, it's heavy in calories and will make you fat. It dumps out of your hand and into the pan to stir fry or whatever. And then you have all these extra calories that you don't need and no nutritional value. So I'm such a believer in forget about the oils. That's an easy thing to give up. It's an easy thing to leave out of your food plan in order to save you calories and to help you trim down and lose weight is eliminate the oils. And I always teach my clients to stir fry in vegetable broth. It does the same thing. Now it evaporates quicker than oil. Oil stay in the pan and you can turn your head and go do other things in the kitchen and come back and stir it. If you're doing vegetable broth, it evaporates. So you just keep pouring some in, and your onions and your garlic, they saute, they taste delicious, they turn golden and soft. And you add the rest of your vegetables, maybe a little more vegetable broth. It's so delicious and
Yeah,
so tasty and calorie free.
I remember when I was a kid, my mother used to make fried chicken in a deep fry pan
Oh my God, it
with
was so good.
Crisco. Is anything grosser than that Crisco oil?
Crisco, I
Oh my God,
know.
and it'd be submerged. I mean, the Crisco would be inches deep. And then, of course, just regular butter. And then they try to sell us on margarine, which was even worse than butter. But people used a ton of butter in this country. In the last few years, I'm whole food plant-based 6 years now, and we get great corn on the cob up here. And I remember sitting at picnic tables when people put the stick of butter down and they roll that corn on the cob in the butter, and then they salt it like crazy. So the salt and the butter, but today it's much, back in the day, I don't ever remember hearing about olive oil. And then the other one that got real popular right now is coconut oil. And guess what? With the advertising dollars they spent on coconut oil, they convinced everyone that this coconut oil was super healthy and great for your digestion and all this stuff. In reality, it's another processed oil. And even the olive oil is probably considered the most healthy of the oils to the general public. But when it's a processed oil, it's really no more healthy than the rest of them.
Yeah, the thing about the coconut oil too is it's solid at room temperature. That's not a polyunsaturated, that's a saturated fat. And
Yeah.
so at least the olive oil and Dr. Bernard, who I really love, he did a study, and maybe it was a podcast that I heard too. And he's like, okay, the Mediterranean diet is better than the standard American diet because you're eating lots more fruits and vegetables, you're eating the olive oil, you're eating more fish. So you are getting and eliminating a lot of the saturated fat. I have to say it is a better option. But now if you want to go to the top of the health pyramid, drop the oil, go even cleaner, get rid of the oil and still eat the fruits and vegetables. You know what I'm saying? You don't need the oil, even though it is better than butter, it's better than, Crisco and those oils. But really, Dr. Bernard said, sure, the studies show that a Mediterranean diet is better than a typical standard American diet. But we can go one step higher and eliminate the oil, then we're really keeping our arteries clean. And we don't want our arteries to be saturated with any kind of oil. The studies have shown, Dr. Esselstyn, who I love so much from Forks Over Knives, he even says you got to be careful with the nuts and the nut butters, especially if you have high cholesterol or heart disease, because those have a little bit more saturated fat. They're hard on the arteries, and we really want to eliminate those just a little bit. Flax meal has omegas and chia seeds, and we're not going to eat bags of those. Like, we can start snacking on the nuts, then we're eliminating some of the other healthy foods in our diet if we're always eating nuts. So we just want to be careful with all of the fats, but in particularly let's eliminate the oil. And I'd rather all my clients are all the people out there, have a couple of walnuts, have a few pumpkin seeds, have a little bit of avocado, but stay away from the oil, because they're not adding any fiber, and fiber is what keeps us full. And all the nutrition is stripped in the oil and the processing. It's another processed food. So we want to eat oils because they're delicious, but let's make them whole and try not to eat too many, because we don't want to be over fat, and those can get carried away with the peanut butter and the almond butter and
Sherry,
macadamia nuts.
I've been making my own peanut butter now for 6 years since I got the Vitamix, and all I use is peanuts and a little bit of cinnamon. But
Mm.
it's so good that I probably have it more than I should. And all of a sudden, if I see my weight sneaking up a little bit, it's probably the peanut butter. And I eat a whole avocado in a salad, and it's probably too much avocado, even avocados.
There you go. You just need a little bit, just a little bit. It's kind of like just a flavor enhancer. Like we can get our essential fatty acids are in the plants. And so we don't need that much walnuts. The walnuts has got a great omega-3s. We don't need to eat that many of them. And so we just have to, you're right, we just have to be really careful. Use just a little bit for flavoring, add a little bit to your food plan. Flax meal has a lot of fiber and a lot of other omegas, and you're not going to eat the bag of flax meal. And they say to do the flax meal instead of the flax seed, because it's easier absorbed into our digestive system. The seeds just go completely through. We don't chew them as well. So try flax meal, a little bit of chia seed. If you're concerned about your omega-3s, it certainly doesn't hurt to add a tablespoon. Dr. Furman's in favor of adding a tablespoon of that in your food plan. And so just be careful, like you said, with the fats, and eliminate the oils.
The nuts, between cashews are great, but they're hard to eat just a couple of cashews. So if you buy yourself a big old jar of cashews, it's tough not to eat more than, 4 or 5 cashews.
And they do make good dressings, and they do make good sauces. And that's what I would use my cashews for, so that we can add a little bit of deliciousness and creaminess. And I love tahini. People who know me say that I also drizzle that on my salad. It gives it a little bit of taste. It gives it a little bit of creaminess. And that's my fat. I don't eat a lot of peanut butter. I don't eat a lot of walnuts. I just have a little bit of tahini, sometimes a couple of walnuts. But yeah, just a little bit goes a long ways, especially if you're trying to keep the weight off and maintain. You just got to be careful with the fats.
Yeah.
The
So
oils just pour out.
What's your dressing on a salad? What do you?
I lately, okay, I changed because it's getting hot and it's getting closer, spring, summertime. I have one of those squeezers, lemon squeezer, lemon and lime juice. I'm so, in the fall, I'm more into balsamics.
Yeah.
But in the springtime, sometimes I use some fresh salsa. Even the bean juice from the juice is really delicious. And then I'll drizzle some tahini on top of it, just to give it that pizzazz that I'm just craving. A little bit goes a long ways. Then I eat more salads. I'm like, oh, if I'm going to eat more salads, more vegetables, because I drizzle a little bit of tahini with some lime juice, I'm in heaven. I eat salads, and you see me posting that all the time. Salad's the main course. I throw everything in there.
So you mentioned Dr. Esselstyn. He has a great book out there for your listeners. It's called Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, where years ago he started with 24 people that were really told to go home and die, that there was nothing they could do. And he changed them to whole food, plant-based. And pretty much, I think 6 people bowed out right from the beginning because they couldn't do it. They just didn't feel they were going to be able to get through it. And the 18 that did all had no further problems. They actually reversed the heart disease. And his son, Rip Esselstyn, is out there. I think you see him at Whole Foods Market, but he was a fireman, and you got the Engine 2 diet of Rip Esselstyn. So they're both big. But I think Dr. Esselstyn, of all the guys that I follow, really tries to get you to cut back on the oils and even the nuts.
Yeah, let me hang on just a second. I'm going to show you something. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. And as far as other books that people might want to take a look at, Dr. Greger's How Not to Die, How Not to Diet. Dr. McDougall's books are great. The Starch Solution, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, Dr. Furman. And I want to make sure, Sheri, while I have you on, I want to mention that Food Revolution Summit. You can find it online. It's a free summit with all those doctors, the best of the whole food plant-based guys. That starts on April 24th. So it's coming up in 9 days. It's free.
Yeah.
from April 24th to May 1st, pretty much all day long. And I think you can pay as little as $67 to have full-time lifetime access to the summit. So
Beautiful.
that, I
What
don't
a
think
great,
I don't think you could spend $67 more wisely than that.
no, that's Ocean Robbins and his father, John Robbins. Oh my gosh, what a resource. I agree with you.
Yeah.
What I stepped away to get is what I've learned so much from Dr. Ozelstein. These are nitric oxide test.
Uh-huh.
And what Dr. Esselstyn is stressing so much about nuts and oils, it destroy the endometrial lining in our arteries. And when the endometrial lining in our arteries get brittle and hard, that's when we start to have heart disease. That's when plaque starts to gather. So he emphasizes leafy greens. That's why I'm always saying eat salad, eat leafy greens, eat those, because it's the leafy greens from the photosynthesis, and it goes into a lot of scientific explanation that I don't want to bore you with, but that's where the leafy greens come in. So he says you can test your nitric oxide with these really cool strips that I'm so loving. This tells you if you're eating enough green leafy vegetables. So it has a little tester swab on it. I'm going to do it right now to see, because I did just have a salad. But anyway, so you test your nitric oxide, not nitric oxide. And when you have a lot of this in your blood circulation, it's with a swab that tells you that you're nourishing your arteries and that you've had a lot of greens. And so he says, eat plenty of leafy greens, all the lettuces, arugula, baby greens. But he also says kale and spinach and bok choy, when you steam them down, they get into small amounts. You can eat you just need a third a cup of those at each meal, a third a cup. When you take 3 cups of spinach, it comes down to be about a third when it's steamed. So you eat that leafy greens, and that's going to give you the nitric oxide that's so important. So you just put this in your mouth for just like 5 seconds.
And where'd you get that? Okay. All right.
Okay, and then you bend it together and you put it together and hold that for about 10 seconds like this. So that and then you have a reading on the back here that shows you if you're bright pink, that means you have plenty of nitric oxide. And if you're in the lesser pink, that means you need to eat more leafy greens or have another salad at your next meal. I got these on Amazon, but they're kind of fun and kind of encourage you to see, am I eating enough leafy greens, or I'm eating enough steamed leafy greens?
I would guess yours
And
must be red. You eat salad like a rabbit, right?
well, let's hope so. I don't know. Did have a big salad. You got to wait for 90 minutes after you ate. I don't know if it's been quite
Gotcha.
90 minutes. 90. Oh, yes, sir.
Ah,
Can you see it?
there it is.
Look at that.
Wow.
Woohoo.
I'll have to get some.
Oh yeah, it's so
Right.
much fun. So even though I run into high cholesterol, I really try to watch it. That's why I first got started in the plant-based world. I know that if I'm eating a lot of leafy green vegetables and a lot of steamed vegetables, I'm keeping my arteries supple. And that's the key right there, is I have nitric oxide in my blood. Oh boy, can you see the red?
Yeah. Awesome.
Yay!
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna have to order some.
That's
Yeah.
what they look like.
Nitric oxide test. Cool. We'll try
Mhm.
it out. Well, I think, Sheri, if I've learned anything from you over the years, you pretty much mention almost every day, salad is the main course, right? That's kind of
And
your,
now you know why I say it,
yeah,
people.
yeah,
Maybe we should title this video "Salad is the Main Course and Why,"
yeah,
I really would love for people to see, why. Why do I always say that? And it's really Dr. Ozelstein. He's my guru.
yeah, yeah. Well, you got a few of them out there. I
Yeah, that's
know
true.
that Dr.
That's true.
McDougall, you've actually had the chance to meet Dr. McDougall, and
Yes. And
that's
I use Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen in my program too. So if anybody has any questions, they want to just chit chat and give me a free call if they're interested in having some one-on-one coaching. I am passionate about helping people transition over. And if you've already transitioned over and you're not sure if you're doing it as healthy as you possibly could, give me a ring. I'd be happy to talk to you and give you any pointers that might be of service to you. I'm all about that.
Great, Sherry. I'll list that on the YouTube, so all
Thank
your
you.
contact info. All right.
All right, Ray, thank you so
Sherry,
much. Take
great
care.
talking with you.
Have a good day.
Bye now.